Kyler Cowden says, how do you build a safety culture at work? I'm moving into a safety compliance supervisor position in retail, and I know many people in this environment are there to punch the clock just to pay the bills. That's fine. How do I get these same people to take ownership of safety guidelines and procedures without resorting to a write-ups will continue until the safety compliance increases? So on MythBusters, we had a ever-evolving set of safety protocols. And by ever-evolving, I mean that in the very beginning, we would be getting ready to do something dangerous the next day, and we would have a company meeting the day before, and we'd say, okay, we're gonna be operating tomorrow with a pyrotechnician. His name is blah, blah, blah. He's worked at blah, blah, blah. They're coming in. We're gonna be working with 5 pounds of black powder. Here is the way the day is gonna go. We're gonna do the first experiment right around 11 o'clock. We're gonna do the second experiment before lunch. We'll break. Then we're hoping third and fourth experiments happen in the afternoon. The same structure for the following day. And then, we had an accident, and an accident in which no one was hurt. But we realized after the accident that we needed to meet both the day before a dangerous thing and the morning of, that there was a significant difference in the amount of information available the day before and the amount of information available on the day of. And we realized we needed both of those oscillations to keep the crew informed. That was our primary safety thing. And if you are working in any kind of filming environment doing something dangerous, I recommend that you have a set of meetings, and we'll say the most important one is the last one. That's the one the morning of or just before you do the big stunt. That's where you get everybody on the crew. Everybody who is going to be on set needs to be in that final safety meeting. They might not all have to be in every safety meeting, but the entire assembled people who are on site need to be there for the final safety meeting, which will explain to them where everyone is standing, what job everyone has, what they can expect from the experiment, ways to abort, ways to alert people to problems, how the denouement will go. On MythBusters, we would often have to tell people, don't yell or celebrate after the thing works. You got to shut up so that we can get it on camera. And getting everyone on set made it clear that the information getting to every last person was a high value to us in terms of a safety protocol, because we wanted everyone included in that. On MythBusters, it wasn't difficult to get people to understand why the safety mattered to them. And I could absolutely understand in a retail environment that there could be issues getting people to understand why safety matters to them. And that's really, I think, how to obtain some compliance, which means meeting with them on the regular about issues, like each time you have an incident with a customer in which safety is part of that issue. To me, that's reason for an all hands so that everyone understands. Really, the evolution of MythBusters safety protocol was more and more meetings that brought key stakeholders in at the right moments to make their suggestions, make their recommendations, and make sure everyone was on the same page. That was the protocol. And so by the time we were finishing MythBusters, we would have a meeting at the beginning of a day that included several potentially dangerous experiments, and then we'd have a meeting before each one. Every last one. That's how to keep people really safe. Negative reinforcement, man. I know how much the modern American workplace loves negative reinforcement on the write-ups and stuff. One thing, and again, I'm not imagining that if you're working in a corporate retail environment that your manager wants to hear what you have to say, but let's just imagine that they do. You might say to them that, hey, all these write-ups make people more and more pissy about safety rather than understanding what it means to them. And now it's just become a de facto villain within the workplace. That's a real problem that you can end up having. I also, let's just finish this by saying I am not a safety compliance officer, nor have I ever been. We hired people to do that on MythBusters, and they were excellent and kept us safe. I would love some suggestions from actual safety compliance people in the comments about things that I have not covered here. But really, really, really information getting to everyone that needs to know it, and then making sure that everyone, and whoever needs to know it is anyone on the workplace crew. Those are the subtle ways you let them know you care. That's what I think about that. Oh man, Kyler Cowden, good luck with that. Let's see what's been happening on the online. Oh, okay, so DanielBally has this question. He says, my employer uses a forced ranking review system, meaning my colleagues and I are literally competing for preset performance slots. Wow. So you have to give someone 100%, someone 80%, someone 60%, and someone gets the big bone, right? They continue. I love the work and the people, but the system creates tension that works against genuine collaboration. How do you stay motivated to show up as a good teammate when the institution is structurally working against it? Yes, American workplace, this is an excellent question. How do you stay motivated to show up as a good teammate, i.e. collaboration, i.e. the whole reason you are saying to return to the office for collaboration? How is it possible to do that when the institution is structurally working against it? Because there is an occurrence that this system does not account for, and the occurrence is that you built the right team. When you've built the right team, when you have built the right team, you are in a marvelous place. And the goal is to keep that team together, but not like at all costs, not at any cost. If someone's going to leave that team to matriculate out, you got to let them go. You got to bring in their replacement. You can't rigidly make a perfect team. A perfect team to me has to include real autonomy and real collaboration. And when you have to grade on the curve for workplace, it's like what it says is that we're probably wrong about it. It's like it says, no, well, okay. What it really says is we want less employees. I understand that every American workplace wants less employees. And especially if your workplace is owned by private equity, boy, do they want less employees. They want every last penny. But let's move beyond that problem and just say you're working in a large corporate environment and you have built the right team, and you're going to have to lose one of them because you're grading this team on a curve. That to me is so wrong-headed and stupid. And it just sets up these toxic workplaces. I'll tell you, I worked with a company where every supervisor had to fire one person per quarter. That was sort of the internal mechanics of the company I was working with. And what it set up was this absolutely toxic workplace where the most recent person to make a mistake was always the one on the way out. So no one wanted to make mistakes, but it's a workplace. So people are making mistakes all the time. What happens then? Well, they pass the buck. They blame other people. It becomes this absolutely, the law of unintended consequences to me of grading your employment team on a forced ranking curve review seems to me so stupid. It's like one of those, it's like a performance metric for managers that doesn't take into account what a manager is actually doing. I encountered a young person last year, a preternaturally good manager of people, this young person. And I asked them what their ambition was, and they said, well, I've started to realize that I might be able to do a lot of good in the world as a manager. This is really beautiful to me. Because, again, in American workplaces, most management positions are rewards for seniority. But management is a specific skill. And I have worked with some amazing model makers who are terrible managers of people. And I've worked with some terrible model makers who are magnificent managers of people. Both of those things were true. But management is a specific skill, and it shouldn't just be a reward for seniority. You need really specific skills in keeping a team working beautifully together. DanielBally, I mean, the only thing I can think is, how do you stay motivated to show up as a good teammate? Get to be a manager and change the system, which is probably impossible in your place, right? I really understand, like, these are deeply inset things that go on. But that is just terrible, grading on a curve. Good God. That just makes me so sad. Thank you for watching. I wanted to talk to you about Tested membership. The Tested members are a key community that we find really, really remarkable. That's very separate from Tested and from YouTube. The Tested members, they buy each other memberships during our live streams. So if you're wondering whether to become a member, watch one of our live streams and someone may just give you one. It is hard to overestimate how much the Tested members actually make possible on this channel. They give us a lot of wiggle room. They give us a huge amount of feedback.
That's a member right now.
Thank you so much for enjoying your membership. Description for everything you need to know. And for all the members out there, thank you, thank you, thank you.